Here, in the waters off the coast of Tasmania, live great numbers of sharks. Many of them are man-eaters. Armed with lances and spear guns with explosive heads, the scuba divers in this part of the world enjoy risking their lives in a bid to add one of these monsters to their fishing records. The Australian cameraman who shot these scenes ran deadly risks to allow us to witness this exciting hunt, and so to understand the extent to which slaughter for its own sake is useless and unjustified. Shark hunting among fishing communities of the past was quite different. 6,000 kilometers away in the coral lagoons of Rajatia, a sacred island in Polynesia, they used to hunt sharks with a method that is unique in the world. The idea was to catch the shark without damaging the skin, in order to satisfy the demands of the Chinese merchants who controlled the shark skin trade. The key to this technique was the use of breadfruit. The first step was to attract the sharks with appetizing bait. The sharks gorged themselves on the bloody titbits to the point where they would eat anything. Then, baking hot breadfruit was thrown in the water. The peel would cool on contact with the water, but not the pulp. The shark greedily swallowed the new bait, and the scalding morsel caused irreparable damage to its delicate circulatory system, causing death within a few minutes. The shark's body would then swell up and float to the surface. The natives called this method of fishing magic fire fishing. The rays of a winter sun light up this tiny mirror of water in Macedonia, Lake Doiran. When winter spreads snow and frost across vast stretches of northern and eastern Europe, most waterways and lakes freeze over. There is very little food for the animals still roaming the forests, and for the few gray herons that survive in their natural habitat. But every so often, nature is unexpectedly benevolent. The most favorable weather conditions in the area are to be found at Lake Doiran. Here, man can still fish, even when it is intensely cold, and with him, dense flocks of cormorants. The men and the cormorants fish together every day, in what is certainly one of the most curious alliances ever known between the animal kingdom and the human race. The common goal of this alliance is to catch as many fish as possible. As this fisherman opens the day's fishing, he alerts the flocks of cormorants. The birds take up their position, and the lake's small fishing fleet moves into the reeds. The cormorants dive, chasing the fish that dart among the reeds in the shallows, frightened by the beating of the fishermen. The shoals of darting fish flee before the approaching noise, harassed by the cormorants, who are excellent underwater swimmers. Hemmed in on both sides, the fish finish up in an enclosure of woven reeds where the diving birds can't enter. And here they are easy prey to the fishermen. On the water and among the reeds, both fishing groups are satisfied with the morning's work. The men, because they have a plentiful catch to take to market. And the birds, because they have had easy fishing, thanks to the noise made by their allies in the boats. The guarantee of food the next day attracts more birds every evening to the quiet waters of Lake Doiran. This is another place where other flocks of birds hunt their food together. The white beaches of Flores in Indonesia, where every full moon in the dry season, the female turtles toil their way up sandy shores to deposit their eggs. In the villages nearby, the fishermen are all keen turtle hunters, an ancestral specialization. The tropical sea is generous in feeding the men who live on its shores, and the most valuable food it offers is turtle meat, rich in health-giving protein. To date, the fishermen of Flores have always hunted turtles without worrying too much about the possible extinction of the species. Every season, thousands of turtles come into the world to repopulate the seas almost under the villagers' noses. Even if the young, in their brief but dramatic journey from the nests in the sand to the water, are decimated by flocks of marine birds. To protect their young from this winged menace, the turtles of Flores often go inland to lay their eggs a second time in the muddy banks of saltwater rivers. The unique aspect of the islanders' fishing method depends on this migration and is particularly fruitful. The people of Flores say that magic pushes the turtles into their arms. Clearly, it is not magic. Man, the pitiless predator, has taken advantage of the delicate mechanism of the natural reproduction cycle. Once a year, in this green maze of shallow water, it is all too easy to capture large turtles. And so far, the natural balance hasn't been disturbed. But if the coastal population of Flores continues to grow, turtle hunting will become a massacre. And this easy, nutritious food will disappear forever. Man risks learning at his own cost that nature's gifts are indeed a miracle, a magic source of food that should not be wantonly exploited, because when it runs out, there will be worldwide famine. The other side of the Indian Ocean, 6,000 miles away. These men are Bajuni fishermen. They live on a group of islands scattered off the east coast of Africa between Kenya and Juba. They are racing across the water on their way to an important appointment. In the warm, calm waters of the lagoons of this arid archipelago, The giant turtles of these seas are keeping their annual rendezvous. The encounter between the hunters and the hunted will take place in those few days when the winds have dropped and the monsoons have not yet arrived from the east. The Bajuni method of fishing is perhaps the most magical in the world. The stars of the event are these remora fish that have strong suckers on the underside of their body. The Bajunis catch them when they are young and raise them in special saltwater containers on their boats. Every fisherman has his remora, and every remora recognizes his master's voice. Together, they will hunt the turtles. During the days of calm, the turtles come into these lagoons to mate. Lost in amorous rapture, 60 feet down, the turtles take no notice of the boats in the lagoon. The fishermen chant a prayer, inviting their remoras to perform. Go and make magic. Bring back a large, succulent catch. A last caress for good luck, and the remoras are off, tied to their masters by a long line that allows them to dive down to the seabed where the turtles are coupling. The fish attach their suckers to their prey, one or more fish to a shell. At this point, the Bajunis pull in their lines, slowly bringing the suckered turtles to the surface. On the way up, the thin initial line is reinforced with a strong rope. One by one, the turtles are hauled aboard. Caught, you might say, by the magic of a fisherman's prayer. A successful fishing venture, thanks to an alliance between a little suckerfish and the Bajuni. Turtle shells on the shores of equatorial Africa, and skulls of dead animals inland over 300 miles away. We are in the heart of Lower Juba, an area where contact with neighboring regions is rare. The local economy is poor but self-sufficient. The tenacious, hard-working inhabitants of the area are the Adons, who still grind their wheat and millet in the same way their Stone Age ancestors did. And the holy words of the Quran are written on wooden tablets. One of the local youths comes home on leave from his military service, bringing with him postcards that offer his family and friends their only glimpse of the outside world. For a moment, the routine of community life is interrupted. Then, the women return to their daily chore of fetching water from distant wells. The water in these pools is brackish and undrinkable. Just the same, these pools offer an important source of food and are the site of yet another astounding method of fishing. During the dry season, when the pools start to dry up and the lack of oxygen in the water forces the fish to rise to the surface, the Adons are quick to take advantage. They use their clothes and those of the women to land their precious daily catch. The dry season continues, and the pools become no more than bogs. Many animals get trapped in the mud and die. But the fish survive. The village elders know how to fish in the mud. They probe into the bogs, watching carefully where they put their feet. They must be the only men in the world who fish in what is virtually dry land. These fish, the Ictalurus or lungfish, can live off the slightest dampness in the mud and often grow quite big. As the weeks pass and the drought continues, the mud dries and becomes cracked, parched earth. But the wise fishermen do not give up. They know that this parched wilderness is still a haven for the lungfish, even if nature originally intended it to live year-round in the water. Under the hardened crust of the mud flats of Juba, the lungfish hibernate for months as they await the return of the rainy season. But the dry land fishermen are always on the alert. One of their songs goes, "We are children of the desert, but we give death the slip because we know the magic of the hidden food." The magic of survival.